Okay, so in our last explainer, we left off with Arjun, ready for battle after the divine council of the Gita. The conches has sounded, the war at Kurukshetra is officially on. But today we witness the fall of a titan, the grandsire Bhishma, who seemed absolutely invincible. Let's dive into how the unstoppable was finally stopped.
I mean, you have to wonder, right? For 10 straight days, this man was a force of nature, a warrior who literally held the power to decide his own death. So how on earth did he end up on a bed of arrows? Well, that is the incredible mystery we're unpacking today.
To really understand the fall, you first have to grasp the sheer scale of his power. Look, for the first 10 days of this war, Bhishma wasn't just a commander. He was a one-man wrecking crew for the Pandava army.
On day one, Bhishma just ripped through the Pandava ranks. It was like the sun itself had come down to fight. Even incredible warriors like Abhimanyu and Satyaki were completely powerless against him. And he didn't let up, day after day, just relentless. He even shattered the mace of the mighty Bheema. By the 9th day, you gotta understand, the Pandava army was broken, teetering on the edge of total defeat.
So you can just imagine the mood in the Pandava camp. It was pure desperation. Yudhishthir, seeing his forces just getting decimated, turns to Krishna and asks, "What can we possibly do? How can anyone stop him?" And Krishna's reply, it didn't offer much comfort. He basically said, nobody can stop Bhishma. He'll fight for as long as he wants to. Now this is where it gets really interesting. The solution wasn't found in a bigger weapon or a stronger warrior, but in a secret from Bhishma's own past. In that council of war, when everything seemed lost, Krishna came up with a plan. While the Pandavas were debating their completely hopeless situation, Krishna offered a solution that was just one word, and it left everyone totally stunned. He just said, Shikhandi. So who was this person, and why was this name the key to defeating the undefeatable?
The answer, you see, isn't about Shikhandi's skill with the bow and arrow. It all comes down to a vow Bhishma made a long time ago. This wasn't just a military strategy. This was destiny, a kind of karmic debt finally coming due.
So here's the quick backstory. In a previous life, Shikhandi was a princess named Amba. Bhishma had abducted her for his half-brother, and in the process, her life was basically ruined. She swore she would get her revenge. Through some intense penance, she was reborn as Shikhandi, with one single purpose: to be the cause of Bhishma's fall.
And this just brilliantly lays out the poetic trap. Bhishma had this personal vow. He would never, ever raise his weapon against a woman or against someone who had been born a woman. And Shikhandi, the reincarnation of Amba, was the living embodiment of that specific condition. So here's the deep irony. Bhishma's greatest strength, his absolute dedication to his principles, was about to become his one fatal weakness.
All right, let's fast forward to day 10 of the war and see exactly how this intricate, controversial, and, well, brilliant plan unfolded on the battlefield. This leads to one of the most iconic moments in the entire epic. The strategy was as simple as it was devastating. Arjun was going to ride into battle with Shikhandi placed right in front of him, basically using Shikhandi as a human shield. The moment Bhishma laid eyes on Shikhandi, he would lower his bow. And in that precise moment, Arjun, hiding right behind, would strike. And that is exactly what happened. As Shikhandi came closer, firing arrows at him, Bhishma just laughed. He didn't see a warrior, he saw the reincarnation of Amba, and true to his word, he lowered his divine bow and simply said, "I will not fight." He knew what was happening, and he accepted his fate. So the crucial point here is, with Bhishma's defenses completely down, Arjun unleashed an absolute storm of arrows from behind Shikhandi. So many arrows pierced the grandsire that when he finally fell, his body didn't even touch the ground. He lay there, suspended on a bed made entirely of Arjun's shafts. But Bhishma's story, believe it or not, doesn't end there. In a twist that could only happen in the Mahabharata, his defeat actually marked the beginning of his most profound contribution to the world. You see, Bhishma had this incredible boon called Ichcha Mrityu, which allowed him to choose the exact moment of his own death. He couldn't be killed against his will. So, lying on that bed of arrows, he decided to wait, to witness the end of the war and only depart when he felt the time was right. For an incredible 58 nights, 58, as the war raged on all around him, Bhishma stayed right there on that bed of arrows. He was suspended between life and death, but his mind was as sharp as ever, and he was ready to impart his final and most important lesson.
And in this state, he called Yudhishthir to his side and gave his final great discourse. He taught him everything about Raj-dharma, the duties of a true king. He spoke about justice, about compassion, about unwavering duty, basically creating a complete guide to ethical leadership. These teachings later became the Shanti Parva, one of the most important philosophical texts in the Mahabharata, all delivered from a warrior's deathbed.
Bhishma's fall was a massive turning point in the war, for sure, but it leaves us with this profound and honestly pretty uncomfortable question that still echoes today. So, what was this? Was it a righteous strategy, or was it just cunning deceit? To win a war for Dharma, the Pandavas used a tactic that was, let's face it, on the very edge of honorable conduct. It's this complex moral dilemma that sits at the very heart of the epic. Does a righteous goal justify any means to achieve it? The Mahabharat doesn't give us any easy answers. Now, with Bhishma gone, command of the Kaurava army passed to another legend, the great teacher Dronacharya. His 5 days in charge were just as terrifying for the Pandavas, but his fall would be brought about not by an arrow, but by a lie.
Join us next time as we explore how a single calculated lie from the most truthful man alive, a son's brutal revenge, and Krishna's master strategy brought down the second pillar of the Kaurava army. The war is only getting more intense from here. You won't want to miss it.